The intention to create this video is to help the trader stop seeing a blur of red and green and start seeing a structured environment. This phase focuses on building a foundation of technical and fundamental knowledge so that the initial confusion of the charts transforms into a clear understanding of how price actually moves. So, let's take the scenario where you open your screen in the morning. Charts are moving, red, green, up, down. Indicators are flashing, notifications are buzzing. For a moment, it feels exciting, like there's opportunity everywhere. But then, confusion sets in. One indicator says buy, another says sell. One time frame looks bullish, another looks like it's about to crash. And somewhere in between all this noise, you take a trade, not because you're sure, but because something, somewhere, looked convincing enough. And that is where most traders begin. Not with understanding, but with confusion disguised as confidence. I've been there. Sitting in front of the screen with everything open, RSI, MACD, Bollinger Bands, Fibonacci, thinking more tools meant more accuracy. More information meant more control. But in reality, I was just creating a more complicated version of confusion. Let me tell you about a real trade. On the 5-minute chart, the stock looked strong, higher highs, momentum building. On the 1-hour chart, it was sitting at resistance, slowing down, ready to reverse. News was positive, RSI was overbought, MACD was crossing. Everything looked half right. So I bought. Not because everything aligned, but because something looked good enough. And within minutes, the market did what it always does, it exposed the confusion. Price reversed, my stop loss was hit, and the trade was over. I sat there asking, what went wrong? But the real question was, why did I take the trade without truly understanding what I was looking at? This is where most traders get stuck. Jumping from one indicator to another, one strategy to another, one video to another. Always searching, but never understanding. Because they are trying to fix confusion with more information. But the market doesn't reward information. It rewards clarity. The shift happens when you stop asking, what should I use, and start asking, what is actually happening? Because the market is not random, it is structured. And once you start seeing that structure, everything begins to change. Let's simplify it. Technical analysis is not about indicators. It's about price. Price is the only truth in the market, everything else is secondary. When you strip your chart and remove the noise, you begin to see trends. Is price moving up, down, or sideways? That's it. 3 possibilities. But inside these 3 lies the entire game. Look at a trending market, higher highs, higher lows, buyers stepping in consistently. That's not randomness, that's behavior. And when you see that, you stop chasing trades and start aligning with direction. Then comes support and resistance. These are not just lines on a chart, they are decision zones. Areas where buyers step in or sellers take control. You'll notice that price doesn't move randomly, it reacts. It pauses, reverses, breaks, and retests. That level where price keeps bouncing? That's demand. And when it breaks, it tells you something important, that the balance has shifted. Now comes price action, the language of the market. Candles are not just shapes, they tell a story. A long wick shows rejection, a strong close shows commitment, and small candles show indecision. When you understand this, you stop guessing and start reading. But technicals alone are not enough, because markets don't move in isolation. They react to the world. This is where fundamentals come in, interest rates, inflation, earnings, news. You can have the perfect setup, but one major news event can change everything. Because behind every chart, there is a real business. An understanding that gives you context. And context removes confusion. Now let's talk about the most important part, risk management. This is where traders survive or disappear. There was a time I didn't use stop losses. I believed in my trades and held positions even when they were wrong. And one day, one trade changed everything. A big loss, not because the setup was bad, but because the risk was unmanaged. That day taught me something simple, the market doesn't care how confident you are. It only respects discipline. Position sizing, stop loss, risk to reward, these are not optional. They are essential. Because trading is not about one trade. It's about staying in the game long enough for your edge to work. Then comes market structure. Markets move in cycles, trend, consolidation, breakout, pullback, again and again. But within these moves, there are traps. Fake breakouts, liquidity grabs, stop hunts. Moments where the market does exactly what you expect, just to reverse. And if you don't understand this, you become part of the trap. Finally, psychology, the invisible battle. Even if you understand everything, execution is still difficult. Fear, greed, frustration, overconfidence, they all show up. You follow your system for a few trades, then one loss shakes your confidence. You change your rules, chase trades, Try to recover faster, and suddenly, you're back in confusion. Because trading is not just about strategy. It's about behavior. And the market tests your behavior, not your knowledge. And this is where understanding truly begins. Not when you know more, but when you see clearly. When your chart is simple, your rules are defined, and your risk is controlled. You don't chase trades anymore. You wait. You observe. You execute only when everything aligns. Slowly, the noise fades. The confusion disappears. And what's left is clarity. Because confusion is loud, it pushes you to act, to react, to make mistakes. But understanding is quiet. It waits, it observes, and it executes with discipline. And in the market, the quiet ones are the ones who survive, and eventually, the ones who win. This is your foundation. Not shortcuts. Not tricks. But understanding. Because once you build this, everything changes. And without this, nothing works. Stay with the process. Because this journey is not about finding the perfect trade. It's about becoming the kind of trader who doesn't need one. If you like the content and the intention to bring market awareness for all, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. As you prefer these type of awareness contents to keep rolling, please keep the motivation high for the content creator, as it takes real time and skill set to bring these type of channels to the audience.